MapleStory Classic World is about to bring back the memories so many of us were fond of when we were kids. Looking back at the original MapleStory, here are the top 5 skills ranked from best to game-breaking, soon to be available on Classic World. Coming in at 5th place, let's get the obvious out of the way. We'll begin with objectively one of the most important skills in the game. If you were to ask someone for their top 5 skills, undoubtedly this skill would be on that list. It's just so universally recognized as being one of the best skills in the game. We're talking Holy Symbol. This is a third job skill learned by priests once they reach level 70. The skill at its max level of 30 yields 50% bonus EXP to all party members for 120 seconds. For anyone unfamiliar, this is the only skill in Old School MapleStory that provides an EXP boost, especially to the entire party as long as it's casted within range. To put it in more simpler terms, the EXP you receive training for 2 hours with this skill applied is equivalent to training for 3 hours without the skill applied. Now multiply that by however many hours you see yourself grinding out levels throughout the time you spend on the game. Holy Symbol taught us as kids that teamwork makes the dream work. This skill is so essential that any serious player who is determined to achieve 4th job and beyond will create a second account with a priest on it just so they can apply Holy Symbol to themselves when they solo train. In fact, when Artail was first released, people even paid for priests to provide Holy Symbol services in their parties in exchange for mesos, just so the buyer's main can level faster. And more often than not, it's used for helping clerics hit level 70 so they too can unlock Holy Symbol. This 1.5 time built-in EXP boost that priests receive in their kit is absolutely one of the best and most essential skills in the game, and hence earns its place on our tier list of best skills in MapleStory Classic World. In our 4th place, we have one of the most visually iconic skills in the game, acquired by Dragon Knights also after unlocking their 3rd job advancement. The skill is Dragon Roar. Taking a step back, Dragon Knights in general has always been one of the most iconic classes of Old School MapleStory. From their equipment, to weapons, to skills, and swagger, so many of us grew up wanting to see ourselves go from a Diamond Dozen level 10 warrior blossom into a spear-wielding knight with flashy dragon-themed skills. Some of us achieved that goal before the game transitioned into this more modern version we see today, but for many of us, myself included, desperately want to relive our Spearman experiences and get to level 70 through hard work and sheer willpower to unlock these rewarding skills. And while it cannot be understated how many iconic skills Dragon Knights have, the one skill that has been etched into so many of our memories is undoubtedly Dragon Roar. We saw it being spammed at Hennis' hunting ground, at Paths of Time, at Forests of Golems, and at Gobbies. The magenta visual effect with a hint of darkness of a dragon's open mouth, almost expressing the pain it took for the player to reach the level required to unlock the skill. And it definitely paid off. When maxed at level 30, Dragon Roar does a whopping 580% damage to 15 monsters upon use. This skill on its own taught us that patience and hard work pays off. Trust in the process, work hard towards achieving it, and be rewarded with a skill that puts all other 3rd job attack skills into shame. And for that childhood lesson, Dragon Roar earns its place as the 4th place on MapleStory Classic World's best skills tier list. Now, if Dragon Roar taught us hard work pays off and everyone eventually gets their turn, this next entry is the antithesis of that, conveying the lessons more to the effects of rich gets richer and life was never fair. On our 3rd place, we have Genesis. Now make no mistake, Genesis is a skill that players acquire even further out than Dragon Roar, requiring a player to reach level 120 and completing a very difficult quest in order to unlock it. The skill, when maxed at level 30, does an insane 1700% damage to 15 monsters with the range of your entire monitor screen. You heard that right, 1700% damage. That's almost triple the damage from Dragon Roar, before factoring in any elemental bonuses. And not only that, unlike Dragon Knights who have to play through 60 levels of Stances Udyr to unlock their skill, Genesis is learned by Bishops, who is by far the easiest class to play since day one with a fairly engaging playstyle to boot. At first job, they unlock a powerful range skill that cannot be blocked by obstacles or terrains. Second job, they get an area of effect skill that both heals and does damage around you. Third job, well, they get Holy Symbol, making the path to fourth job significantly faster compared to any other classes, with the exception of maybe Fire Poison mages. Think back to that spoiled kid in your elementary class. Always had more snacks during lunch than he needed for his own good. Fast forward a decade and now he's enrolled into IB thanks to a generous donation from the parents. Completely irrelevant anyways, because now he doesn't work and lives solely off family trust funds and dividends. While you now need to maintain Berserk and monitor your HP before your boss 1-1s you in the boardroom, this classmate now spams Genesis on the ATM reader in Chanel stores, with his only struggle being how to fit all these Skelegon ETCs into his 918 Spider. Deservingly, Genesis earns his 3rd place bronze medal on our tier list of best skills. By the way, 95% of you watching are not subscribed, so if you're enjoying this type of content and want to see more, make sure to hit that bell icon to be notified when I release new videos. Also, I completely made that number up. Now let's get into our 2nd and 1st place for the best skills on MapleStory Classic World.
Oh my god.
Coming in at 2nd place, we have a skill that embodies nostalgia itself as a principle. It's easy to find charm in the simple things in life, and sometimes we all just need to slow down a little. For our 2nd place, we have Lucky 7. This is the first job skill unlocked immediately upon job advancing into a rogue at level 10, with this range gradually increasing until maxing out around level 20. The skill throws 2-star projectiles with damage based off a character's luck, regardless of mastery, dealing 170% damage. Now, the skill itself is very simple in principle. It's a ranged skill that can be interrupted by terrains and also won't activate if a player stands too close to a monster. The animation itself is bare bones, showing a red motion curve with the character's equipped star being thrown. It's a skill that can be overlooked by players who've never played MapleStory before, but let's be honest, you are not one of them. You're probably very familiar with MapleStory. In fact, you've probably played back in the day, possibly as a rogue. Chances are you've pressed on a key triggering Lucky 7 a couple times in your life. The crisp feeling of landing 2 stars onto a mob with a jump shot and swiftly moving on to the next, admiring the damage you've just dealt. As simple as the skill is in concept, its simplicity is also its charm. It's the Naruto before Shippuden came around, and rogues are the Uchiha Sasukes of all classes. Before learning Chidori, you've got kunais. Never fear the man who knows 1,000 punches, but fear the man who has practiced the same punch 1,000 times. Or perhaps that one punch is just so busted in the damage it deals that there's no reason to learn the other 999. Lucky 7 is the bread and butter of the assassin branch, and its iconic value and cultural equity cannot be understated. Not everything needs to be a full map attack or a button mashing combo needing to be executed to perfection. The best things in life comes from the quiet moments, from the interactions that we innocently have with one another, and Lucky 7 is the embodiment of that. For this reason, I welcome you to the 2nd place silver medal for the best skills on MapleStory Classic World. And now on to the 1st place for the number 1 most broken skill on old school classic MapleStory. We can toss all that self-reflection out of the way. If Lucky 7 is the required ethic course to a business degree, then our 1st place is the part where we actually get to learn how to start making some cash money. For our 1st place, we've got Flash Jump. F your nimble feet, f your speed potions, your haste, your teleport, your mount, cause we've got motherfucking Flash Jump here, baby. Among all 5 skills here on our tier list, Flash Jump is the only skill to make its way to every single MapleStory class in existence in modern day MapleStory. We're not innocent kids anymore rolling a hoop with a stick across the schoolyard. Most of us are now brain rotted into oblivion and more distracted than ever. We're now in the era of going fast, and there's no other skills that gives the feeling of zoom zoom more than Flash Jump. In fact, its introduction in old school MapleStory was broken upon release and decades ahead of its time. Back when traveling in games required actual walking, Flash Jump said screw the rules, I've got money, or mana. Ironic how the skill is unlocked upon reaching level 70 by the same class who have cherished Lucky 7 all the way until then. But hey, we all need a little bit of balance in our lives. The skill pioneered the value in swift movements back in the day, and is likely what led to the modern debris story bossing mechanic we see on present-day MapleStory. But that's not to discredit it from its significance and value. If you thought your assassin was a slow, honest, star-throwing 9-to-5 salaryman class job, then Flash Jump is your tax returns. If a 10-hour training session with Avenger is starting to feel like a drag, then spamming Flash Jump across Tennis's market is like a Friday night out with the boys. For a skill that transcended old school MapleStory and completed the cool factor in the Nightlord job branch, I want to inaugurate Flash Jump as the #1 skill to our best skills of MapleStory Classic World tier list. Congrats, and I hope this makes up for all the hermits still getting 2-shot in their training areas. If only your HP bar has as much range as your jumps. Click the video on the left to find out what happens when we give Nightlords more HP, and click the video on the right to watch whatever I uploaded last.
Hold up.